I think, when I'm working on blends, I take a different approach, to different blends. I think the first one with chapter 1 of Little Book, I was focused on creating something that was a bourbon style blended whiskey. I was looking through our inventories of corn whiskey, rye whiskey, and malt whiskey, trying to come up with something that I really liked in that area, because I felt that even though I was stepping out of kind of my family's realm of bourbon, what we've been doing for 8 generations, but I thought it was important that it kind of tell that story of how I got to using blended whiskey, and it was through bourbon. So that one was more of an idea of how I wanted a concept to be. Now the opposite was true for chapter 2. When I was visiting our sister distillery in Alberta, in Canada, I tasted some very unique liquids up there. And when I came back home, I reached back out to them and said, "Hey, is there any inventory that you guys could slide me to use in Little Book if I find something that I could hit on there?" And so they sent me, I think, 5 or 6 different samples of different whiskeys that were available. And that's kind of how I went into it that way. So I kind of had an idea, 2 different ways there of coming into it. I think it's just all about letting the whiskey do the talking. If you have an idea, working on blending in that area is great, but just make sure you're listening to the whiskey. If you're tasting these samples, whether it be individually or you've made some quick composite blends just to see, is there a good flavor there to begin with. I think just let your palate make the answer is kind of how you should go, or how I go about developing a blend or even a concept for a blend.